Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for coming on today.
Yeah.
My podcast is called
You're
Chasing
fine.
Liberty. And my first guest today here is Jeff. He's like, you fucking prick. What's that? What are you doing now?
Just turn the air on. It's
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
So,
kind of dive into what this is.
What is the name of the podcast?
Well, not entirely sure. I think that's something we got to figure out over the next week or two. We were going to go with Chasing Liberty.
Yeah.
The problem with that is there was a movie made called Chasing Liberty.
What was the movie about?
So, interestingly enough, the movie was about I think the daughter of a U.S. president who ran away when they were on like an overseas trip or something like
Is
that.
her name Liberty?
Yes.
That's fucking cheesy.
Yeah. I think it was Mandy Moore was the actress.
Yeah, okay. No, still.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think going with Chasing Liberty is tough because if you Google it or something like that, you just get the movie.
Yeah.
So we'll probably got to figure out something else. I like that.
What if we just spell Liberty with an I-E?
Yeah, that could work. We could, let's change the spelling of chasing as well.
Yeah.
Chasing Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll kind of figure out what the name of the podcast is as we over the next week or so try to hone in on that.
We'll see. Whatever pops up on the title screen, that's what the fucking.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it will be. So yeah, that'll be good. Reason for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So we've been really good friends now for 15, 16 years, probably.
Something like that.
We always get in conversations about, life issues and politics and things of that nature. And I think we both have a similar mindset that, the world's a little messed up and too many people are closed-minded. And we both want to, I think, dive into certain subject matters within the political spectrum. But look at it from both sides. Research both sides and have open discussion with each other. We're pretty similar politically, right?
Yeah.
And where we fall. But I think it would be a lot of fun and educational to say, hey, let's talk about let's get into a few podcasts on gun control, right? And let's look at both sides of it. Or your favorite subject, I can't wait to dive into taxes.
Yeah,
right?
taxes.
Is get into all and take some time to really dive into those subject matters, and then get on a podcast and discuss it. Like, what did we both come away with?
Yeah. Yeah, and does what was our thought and beliefs going in, and what are they coming out? Right? Were we able to uncover some new information, some new material, talk to interesting people that had compelling arguments for the opposite side, and where did we end up?
Yeah,
because I mean, my beliefs and my conviction, I would say, is firm but malleable. Right? I'm open to new ideas, and I just wanna know more.
Totally, yeah. That's where I'm. I think wanting to know more really is a big component for me because I at this day and age we all get in conversations with people about it, and it's like, well, I feel this way, and you really want to be able to back that up, not just off of one or two big talking points, but really get into like, hey, 150 years ago this happened, and this is why this law was changed, and really be able to say, this is how I came to that conclusion. Yeah. Not because the media says, this or this is what we're supposed to believe now or whatever, but it's like, no, this is really what I believe. And we were talking this morning about, again, Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff, and I brought up some points about that. Yeah. That I came across a few months ago. Yeah. That I never knew. And you were like, oh, yeah, that's really
concepts that I never even considered. Yeah. That would never even have crossed my mind. So really cool.
Yeah. And me neither. When I kind of looked into it and I listened to a few podcasts on it, it was kind of the same thing. I was like, oh, wow, I never thought about it from that angle. Yeah. And I'm like, that kind of changes my perspective on that. Yeah.
And for me, right, like our social media, our feeds, whether we're looking through Facebook, YouTube, whatever, the algorithm is showing us what it thinks that we want to see and want to engage with, and I can appreciate that because I enjoy seeing those things. They make me laugh.
Yeah, you're not wasteful. You're not gonna waste your time.
But I'm always frustrated with whether it's something that's on the left side or the right side, whatever it is. Almost every fucking video is a very one-sided argument, right? You only ever see the one side that really, really supports what that person's agenda is.
Yeah.
And it just leaves it feeling a little hollow.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I don't spend. I spend some time on Twitter. I deleted my Instagram account. I'm probably going to delete my Facebook account for those reasons.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't get value out of them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I like being a lot more open-minded to at least seeing both sides. Now, there's extremes on both sides that like I just don't have a whole lot of interest in listening to on certain issues. Right. But it's that like middle 70% or so, 80% that I'm like, I'm totally open to like thinking about things, looking at things.
And a lot of this comes back to that ultra polarization between the left and the right, right? And as I think as a country, as a society, we'd be better off if we could find more common grounds. If it wasn't so all the way left or all the way right, this so red, so blue, and all that shit. If more of that libertarian type of approach, but even like hardcore libertarians have a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah, me too. I think I look at I think I like a lot of things from a libertarian perspective, but there are some things I just look at and I say I just don't think it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But I think that with everything, whether it's liberal, libertarian, conservative, any specific genre of in the political spectrum.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is people say, well, I'm liberal, so I believe in everything the Liberal Party stands for, and that's just what I believe.
And most of the time they don't even understand what it is that their party actually fucking represents, right? They're just, I hate Trump, or on the right, like, I hate Biden.
Okay, why?
Yeah. They just can't articulate their argument.
Right, and it's just, well, he's dumb.
Yeah.
Or he's racist or whatever.
He's not Biden.
Exactly.
He's not Trump.
He's not Trump. Yeah, exactly. No, it is.
Which is the worst fucking reason in the world to do anything because it's not the other thing.
Yeah,
that's just
it's not. Now, I will say I think it's embarrassing as a country.
Yeah, that those are our options.
That we don't have better leaders willing to kind of step up and lead. But I think that also goes back to just the who controls the narrative and things of that nature, right? Yeah. Some of that in go down into that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I think one thing we should probably discuss for a few minutes here. Who are we? Like, who are you? Who are deep down? Who are you?
Who are any of us? I'm just a guy floating on a ball of fucking dirt, whizzing through the space and time.
Is that you believe we're on a ball whizzing through space?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Aren't we?
I don't know.
It's just a big ball of fucking dirt. I mean, space is huge and expansive.
Is it a ball or is it flat?
Oh, that's where you're going. No, it's definitely fucking round.
Okay.
And not round and flat, but round and,
Yeah. Look, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Just asking questions.
It's a sphere.
I'm just asking you questions.
Yeah.
I want to see who you are.
Okay, so who am I? Jar Turchin.
Yeah.
In my early 40s. And I'm a, serial entrepreneur with background in engineering, computer science, and specializing in manufacturing operations, started businesses, sold businesses, very, very capitalistic by nature. But I think that capitalism is vilified and inappropriately so. I feel like I'm a, the proper type of capitalist where I want to risk my own skin to earn great rewards and carry along all the people that helped me, earn those rewards, right?
Yeah.
Commensurate with whatever they were able to put into the process.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key aspect of capitalism that often kind of gets forgotten or brushed aside. That there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Not charity, but like
entitlement.
No, like when somebody gives something, it's an A word. I'm gonna edit this part out.
A gift.
No, like when somebody's very like charitable, they're seen as being
altruistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Now I'm off fucking topic. So I'm definitely gonna edit that.
Capitalism.
Capitalism. Anyways, so yeah. Yeah. So that's me.
Yeah.
I'm conservative. I don't think I'm hardcore conservative, but that's just that's the way I was raised. But I don't feel like it was in an indoctrination.
Yeah.
I grew into doing that. I grew up working hard. I did have a lot of shit given to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely privileged as a youth,
Yeah.
but learned to work for it in my later life, and learned the benefits of working for it. So,
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, very cool. Jeff Cusack, also in my, early to mid 40s. I kind of.
Is there a reason you don't want to tell us how old you are, Jeff?
44.
Oh.
I kind of grew up similar to you, I would say. I mean, I grew up in a high income area, and was given a lot growing up in terms of, there was nothing I needed, right? My parents provided everything I needed. I had nothing there's nothing I could complain about from my childhood, from that aspect. Worked in the investment industry for about 20-ish years now. And about 13 years ago, started an investment firm with my brother. So we were financial advisors and manage money for individuals, small businesses, things of that nature. So my focus in life is definitely in the investment world. I've coached football as well for the past 12 years or so, on and off. And I think I have a very similar view as you.
And you've coached youth football. I think that's important to.
Yeah.
Because I think working with kids is important.
Yeah.
And different from like if it had been some
college or
other level. Right?
Yeah.
But
I
think that's an important part of who you are.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I coached from sixth graders all the way up to high school varsity.
Yeah.
And mostly the mostly high school varsity at this point. That makes up probably 60-70% of my time in coaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, I coached all different age groups. And I have a similar, I think, mindset as you do from capitalism and how we view that and how it should work, and people should be rewarded for the work that they put in.
And the risk they're willing to take.
The risk, and that's something I think people who have never started companies cannot, under any circumstances, wrap their arms around.
Yeah.
They don't get the stress level that comes with that.
Yeah.
And just all the people think when you start companies, everything just goes straight and it's smooth, and and it's anyone who's started a company will say it's like it's a battle, and it can take 10 years before you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It really can, and
it can all go tits up. I mean,
it can, and that's the
I've
problem.
had to file corporate bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I've had to bankrupt my company before.
Yeah.
I filed personal bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Because those are the risks I was willing to take, and it didn't work out, and it doesn't often work out.
Yeah.
But keep moving.
Yeah, keep swinging the bat, kind of thing. Yeah, and as somebody who's owned a business now for 13 years, there's ups and downs, and when you think everything's clear and everything's great, all of a sudden you get smacked across the face a little bit.
Yeah.
And it can be a challenge, man. But it's funny. I don't think I could ever go back to not working for myself, right? I think it's like I'm willing to sit in that chair of risk and navigate the world that way. I think this is how I'm wired now.
Yeah.
I like that, because I think as you go through life, I know we were talking about some businesses that you were thinking about maybe starting over the next year, and I look at that the same way. My brother and I, we always talk about different just ideas and things like that. It opens your eyes to, I think you're more, more adaptable.
Yeah.
Right? You're not as stagnant, because you always have to think. You always have to think, how can I improve? How can I get better? How can I make sure this doesn't happen again? When you're an employee, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
You just don't care as much. But you don't have to. There's no survival there.
Right.
When you're an entrepreneur, when you own a business and you're truly fighting to survive.
Yeah.
There's a survival instinct that I think you have to just kind of learn a little bit. and you become accustomed to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So in the spirit of the often polarizing topics that we kind of want to cover and touch on, in your industry in particular, there's a lot of regulations.
Yeah, and they keep more and more
all the time. And I know you're very anti-regulation, right? I think in certain there's probably limits to that, and I am as well. I think less regulation is better, but just real quick, like in your particular industry, can you do away with a lot of the regulations that are there? Are a lot of them, in your opinion, we have to get into them specifically? Are a lot of them garbage?
Yes. So I think one of the reasons why is they. Something will happen in the industry, and they'll come out with all new, whole new regulation for it, because, well, we want to make sure this doesn't happen again when it was a one-off case or something like that, or a few people, right? And it's like you're always gonna have people that try to take advantage of a system, no matter what industry it is, and so to come out with this whole new blanket rule that may not even be beneficial, and make everybody jump through all these hoops is just wasteful. It's time consuming, it's wasteful, it's not protecting anyone, because there's still ways to get around it if someone were so inclined to do so, right? And so it's like, that's the problem. And I think in everything in the world, that's how so many things, rules and regulations get started. It's like, well, we don't want to make sure that happens again. Right? And to an extent, I get that, but
new rules and regulations will incite people to find the loopholes.
Yes.
Right? Like, oh, there's a new rule. Let me find a way around it. Right? They weren't already looking for some method. Right? Rules are meant to be broken. Right? Kind of almost mentality.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we've got hackers in the world,
exactly.
and right, like, so the more firewalls, the more protections that are put in place, the more people are gonna try to rise to that challenge. Right.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I think rules and regulations are definitely necessary to an extent. Right. I really do. Yeah. I don't think that they should be a barrier of entry though, for people trying to make it.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just unnecessary, and everybody in our industry thinks that it's like you look at every year. It's like, well, there's now this new form that everybody has to fill out. We have to go through this whole process, and it's like this an example like these questions are already all answered on a form that's already filled out over here.
Yeah.
And now we have to fill out this whole other form and go through this whole other process. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like it's you're just trying to justify paying attorneys to create documents or something. Like I mean,
it's just the bullshit piles up higher and higher and higher, and everybody forgets about the shit that's already at the bottom.
Yeah.
Just what's coming up on top.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a list here of some of the topics that we can I have the pen. I wanted to add one on here.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be good to just kind of.
Drugs?
Yeah. Talk about some of the topics we've got on here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I just wrote down drugs because we were talking about libertarians, right?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily share the same. Like, there's some libertarian views that I like.
Yeah.
I think they're the looseness on drug regulations.
Yeah. Well, they basically don't believe in it.
And I don't necessarily believe in it, but I'm open to talking about it.
Yeah, so
there's all kinds of new shit coming out. Like does microdosing of hallucinogenics for therapeutic purposes.
Yeah.
I
don't think so.
I think it's slippery ground,
okay.
And this might be where I think the regulations are appropriate.
Yeah. So I actually don't. This is why I'm excited for this, because I actually. So from my very, very limited at this time, knowledge into that subject with hallucinogenics, in discussing from brain development, helping people get over addictions and anxiety and things like that. There's to me I see a lot. There's a lot of benefit, and I think it was suppressed.
I can understand. I
specifically for the.
I don't doubt that there are benefits.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I think that there's certainly benefits to it. I can understand that aspect of it, the science part of it.
Yeah.
I think that. I feel like I've seen advertisements for at-home kits to do it yourself.
Sure.
And so that's where I'm saying it's a slippery slope.
So do you? Okay, so with that, then
we're just legalizing hallucinogenics.
Yeah. Do you
in-home recreational?
Yeah,
I think is where that stems to really quickly.
Sure. Do you? So would you? Do you think pharmaceutical drugs are a slippery slope? Are you for or against those? And more so than you are.
When you say pharmaceutical drugs, are you talking specifically about things like painkillers or like any kind of drug, something that's like treating COPD or arthritis or?
No, I'd say painkillers, antidepressants, things like that.
Those types of things that tend to be addictive.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think that there's probably a problem there. I don't know the scale of the problem. I mean, certainly there's the whole opioid crisis.
So did you ever watch a documentary, Dope Sick?
I didn't.
No, so it's on.
Yeah, you said that I should.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. I think it's only like 6 episodes.
Okay.
It will blow your mind.
Yeah.
And it's a show based off of a true story of the opioid crisis.
Right.
By Purdue Pharma, is the pharmaceutical company. There was a book written on it, and so they made a show out of it. It's disturbing, to say the least. And so I find it interesting that people put so much trust in pharmaceutical companies in general.
I have zero trust in pharmaceutical companies at all, and I'm completely anti big medicine.
Yeah, and I've kind of gotten that way as well.
Right.
And one of the reasons why is.
But then again, somebody's gonna like I can picture somebody being like, "Oh, so you don't use hospitals?"
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course, right? No, for sure. But I think so. The Department of Health did a study from 2003 to 2016. It was like a 13 or 14 year study. They wanted to see how much money the pharmaceutical industry had to pay out in benefits, like getting sued, right, on an annual basis.
Fuck.
You want to take a guess?
I feel like we've had this conversation. I can't remember the number.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just under $3 billion, right? It was like $2.75 billion a year the pharmaceutical industry had to pay out based off of lawsuits and things like that.
Yeah.
Top three were, I believe it was GlaxoSmithKline, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson were 1, 2, 3.
That sounds right.
And so you just look at it, it's like, how can anybody
it's just criminal.
It is. And how can anybody just immediately go into it and be like, well, yeah, but this is what the pharmaceutical industry says.
Yeah.
To me, it's like you put your money into a bank, right?
Yeah.
You walk in there with $100,000. You walk in there a week later, and they're like, yeah, I'd like to withdraw my $100,000. Like, well, there's only $70,000 there. Well, what the hell happened to the other $30,000? Don't worry about it. Right. Would you go back to the same bank? Like, I look at it.
But think about it like this. Let me try to. Murder. Yeah. Murder's illegal and murder's wrong, right? Yeah. But if you didn't go to jail for murder and it was just a fine,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
Now it becomes a market, right? Where as long as I'm getting paid to kill somebody more than the fine is, now you've got a whole industry.
Yeah.
Right? And that's almost what the fucking pharmaceutical industry is, right?
Yeah.
They know they're going to kill X number of people
or
deform, disfigure, make them ill, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's okay because the fines
are
much less than what we're getting paid.
100%. And I think here's the thing, like, have a lot of good things come from the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Right? I think the argument would be, there's been a lot of good things, right? There's a lot of good the issue is the over prescription of things and the ability to not try to fix it naturally, or the more way that we, I think, naturally should heal ourselves and things of that nature, right? And there's so many ways to lower blood pressure or cholesterol, as opposed to just immediately saying let's put you on medications, right? And I that's kind of how I look at that stuff. It's like and we've all taken pharmaceutical drugs and things like that. And I don't think all of them are bad and evil from an aspect of every single drug is going to kill you. And but I think as an industry, it has become completely corrupt. So it's the drugs one that'll be interesting because but you think hallucinogenics basically should be highly regulated. If that's the alternative to pharmaceuticals, so if those are the two options, and you're against both.
No.
Right?
Wait, what are you saying the options are?
Pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
And
homeopathic.
Yeah.
But so that's not outside of big medicine, right? Big medicine is going to tap into that. That's going to be all pharmaceutical drugs are going to be hallucinogenics, right? So as soon as there's that ability to monetize it that way,
for sure,
absolutely.
But then will you not? But would you not then trust it?
I don't know. No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
But do you trust it before pharmaceutical companies get involved?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So something like a penicillin.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you're also capitalistic.
Yeah.
See that problem?
I'm very fucking conflicted.
No, I get it. And that's the problem. It's like, hey, I can't listen. So if there's an idea and there's a need and there's a way to monetize it and make money, I'm all for it. But then when somebody does it, it's like, well,
okay. So what I feel like we're missing with the pharmaceutical industry is morality.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
So and so that's the problem. That is the problem. So there's
hold on. Right now, I want to say the lack of, or at least my sense, where I feel like the pharmaceutical industry is lacking, is so fucking criminal that a CEO, any sort of a senior level person in a company like that, that is found complicit with hiding data or anything like that, where they knew this was going to cause harm or something, where they just figured the ratio was worth the juice was worth the squeeze for them, they should be subject to immediate capital punishment.
Yeah,
fucking kill him.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I don't want to incite violence or like.
We've talked about that. So,
but I think that there needs to be not a slap on the wrist.
I agree.
If you are putting other people's life at risk knowingly, because the formula is worth it monetarily, then I think you should be subject to capital punishment.
Yeah. I it's funny. I can't totally disagree with you on that, because at the end of the day, you are risking people's lives. You know a certain amount of people are going to die.
Yeah.
And you're looking and saying, but we saved 90% or whatever, right? But but you don't.
And I understand. I mean I get that, right? Like the greater good aspect. I get the greater good argument.
But the greater good argument to me is give everybody for everything across the board. Give everybody transparent and full information and let them make their decisions.
There you go.
Because who owns my body? Me, right? Me, I do.
No,
like
I do.
Yeah.
I own you.
Yeah. No, but I do, right? And at least that's what I believe, right?
Yeah.
That the government doesn't own me, doesn't own my body.
Yeah.
So give me all the information.
It's your body. It's your choice.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah. Well, but it is.
It is.
That's what I believe, though. I really do. I think that's like the one. That is, to me, like that's the one basic human right that like everybody is born with.
Yeah.
And should die with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like that's number one.
Maybe there's a medicine. Maybe I have an illness, and there's something that can cure it. But maybe it's not that bad for me. Maybe I'm not suffering that bad.
Yeah.
And if I knew that there was like a 1 in 1,000 chance that I was gonna, develop some sort of a different illness or kill me or whatever, I might say, it's not. That risk isn't worth it to me.
Yeah.
Let me manage my own risk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I could be in a situation where, like, I've been told I got 3 months to live.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try anything. I don't care if I got a 1 in 5 chance.
Yeah.
I'll try anything. I'm gonna be dead next week anyway.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see if this fixes it. Right. But
Sure.
that transparency aspect allows me to manage my own risk.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and fucking tired of a government
Yeah.
that feels like that as a population we're too stupid to manage our own risks.
Well,
now I know
in
that
their defense, there's a lot of evidence that would support that we are too stupid to manage our own risk, right? As a society, I mean, we are the people. And again, the reason why I really want to do this, I think, because people we don't do enough research on things to truly dive deep into them. But I agree with you. If people are too stupid to make their own, if people are too stupid to do the research to make their proper decisions, that's on them.
That's on them.
It's on them.
Yeah.
Don't punish. Don't force everybody to whatever.
Don't bring everybody down to that lowest common denominator.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that we're leaving those other people behind.
Yeah.
Figure something out. But
yeah. There's resources out there.
Yeah.
Right. To get yourself the necessary knowledge on whatever you wanna talk about. Yeah. I know. I totally agree with you. So is it, the drugs thing that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Which kind of goes like right above that. We got FDA. Right? I think the FDA is a dog shit situation.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to tell me how much poison they feel is okay for me to put in my body. Right. Good, thanks.
You know what? How about this? Don't rely on the FDA for that anymore. I'll let you know how much poison you can put in your body. I'm comfortable with. I like to HR.
I'll call you.
I'm comfortable with you. With you taking this much poison this month.
Yeah. How much ice melt, like driveway melt salt, should I put in on my steak?
I'll let you know. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Which that goes right above to the one above it, water supply, right?
Yeah.
I think our water supply, that's again an FDA thing, right? Where they're gonna measure what's in the water and then determine, well, this is an acceptable level of poison for us to put in the water for you to consume and put in your body.
Yeah.
Now, I get that they need to put those things in there to kill the bacteria and sort of keep the water healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I don't want that shit in my body.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I'm a big fan and proponent of filtering your own water.
Yeah.
Right. Reverse osmosis or ultra high filtration.
So and I can't disagree with that. So one issue with that, right? If you're against
municipal water supplies.
Yeah. Who's in charge of it? And is nobody? And everyone's on their own to filter their own water? Because I would argue.
Why doesn't the government just give everybody at-home water filters? The government should pay for that.
Nope.
No, I'm fucking kidding.
I'm thinking about.
No, but I mean, I think I don't know, clean water for everybody, right? That's a problem.
Yeah,
right. If we pivoted to saying, well, you're responsible to filter your own water, there's a lot of people out there that can't afford that.
That's my point.
So
who's in charge of it? How do you do it?
Yeah, and then now we're just a selective part of the population that can't afford to filter their own water to that level. Now they have to drink that poisoned water, the clean poisoned water.
No, so that's I
don't know how to fix that.
So okay,
we'll find some.
We'll find I don't know much at all about water supply stuff.
Yeah.
You brought it up this morning, and you were happy that I have a really good filtration system here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. I wouldn't have ever dove into that subject. So at some point we will, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So other things on here, energy. I know you brought up energy.
Yeah. Energy source. Yeah, clean versus clean.
You like
energy.
nuclear?
I'm a huge nuclear fan. Yeah. Yes. The issue I have with the one issue I have with nuclear right now, based on my again not enough in-depth knowledge, is there enough of it to last, right? Because it's based off plutonium. Last 100, 200 years.
Does it need to? I mean, does it need to run on plutonium only? I don't know.
I think so. That's what that's what I mean. That's my very brief understanding of it, and it's a specific type of plutonium, and that's the problem is that there's only supposedly only so much available, and so if we went to 100% to nuclear, one thing I read, I never
thought of it as a limited resource.
I read it about 10 years ago, and it was a really good book, and it got into all the different energy. Different ideas or methods, right? And with nuclear, that was the issue. Was that it was if we transition to nuclear, there's only enough to last 30 or 40 years, right? And I don't know if that's true. I didn't dive into it again enough.
Elon Musk says all we got to do is throw up some fucking solar panels.
Yeah.
And, we cover. It's like there's an area in New Mexico and that whole area around there that we could power the United States. The whole United States with solar panels.
Yeah, no.
He says the math checks out. I don't know, he's a smart guy.
He is. He's
a smart guy. No idea.
Energy is, I think for me, it's one of the most important topics. I'm not a fan of I'm not oh my god, every car should be electric. I think people who think electric is this clean energy source are so uneducated on the topic. You
got the conflict materials that go into the batteries.
500,000 tons of earth material has to be dug up to create one battery.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some stats like that, and then other people saying, well, that's all really just bullshit. It's really not that bad, or this and that. So do some digging.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, right. And then all of the stuff that goes into building that car, anyways, right?
Right. Yeah. So the energy is a
how clean is the energy that you're putting into the car? Where did that come from? They burning coal to get it?
Coal for electric, right?
Yeah.
To get the energy for electric a lot, right?
So you want to burn coal or burn gas?
Right? No.
Which fossil resource?
Pick your poison, and we'll tell you which is the acceptable amount that you can take.
Which like climate change, right?
Yeah,
that's the next thing on there, right? Does right into that. And is the climate changing? In my opinion, absolutely. Is it because of humans? I think we're influencing it. I also think
to what percentage?
What percentage?
And does that percentage affect the way of the future, the way of life enough, right?
Yeah.
And if we are affecting, and this is my issue with everybody on the climate change topic is one. You can go back and look at. To assume that the Earth doesn't go through solar cycles, hotter and colder, and that it's only hotter at this. It's never been hotter before. It's only been hotter for the past 50 years, and it's 100% because of us.
Yeah,
I just think it's a very uneducated way to look at it. I think too, we know that the Earth has cooled and gotten hotter multiple times throughout history, right?
Yeah, we know that it's cyclical.
It is. Everything is.
Right.
And so I think there just needs to be a lot more of okay. Does it exist? Yeah. Sure. Okay. What percentage are we contributing to it? And then even more so, what percentage is the United States contributing to it? Because that's one of my other biggest problems. Is I saw a stat where it's like China and India, and mostly China equate for some 70% of the pollution and that attributes to climate change. So
giant populations like that, that are contributing the majority of the pollution, the waste, waste that goes into water, pollution that goes into water, right? I've got some history in the textile industry, and from my understanding, the knowledge I gained there was, there's the textile dyeing industry that they do in China. Can operate typically only 6 months out of the year because they have a quota on how much of their effluents, their toxins that they can dump into the water supply. And about halfway through the year, they hit their quota and they shut down for the next 6 months.
So I'm actually surprised that they actually shut down for the next 6 months. I'm not surprised that they have a quota. I've always felt that China just ignore every type of regulation that is out there. But
no, it's their own set regulation. It's not like a global regulation. Somebody's saying, China, here's your quota. China has imposed their own quota.
Okay.
My understanding. I could be. I could be.
Interesting.
Misinformed,
I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay.
Recycling. Yeah.
That's another interesting one.
I think.
And one of our best friends. I think we should bring him on for that podcast.
Definitely.
He's worked in that industry for 20 years, and when I went out to visit him. oh gosh, maybe 4 years ago, and we got into a discussion about recycling, and he threw some stats at me that kind of blew my mind. I was like, huh, interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, and the thing there is, I think the U.S. population in general doesn't really understand the recycling industry.
Agreed.
What you can recycle, what you can't recycle. You know, if it's this level of being soiled or not, or the milk carton's got the recycle thing on there, I'll stick it in my bottle. But you know what? There's actually a very limited number of recycling plants that can recycle milk containers.
Well, or like pizza boxes.
And pizza boxes.
Well, basically no pizza boxes will get recycled from my understanding of it. If it has residue on it, it immediately gets kicked out. Yeah. And so unless you're going to sit there and scrub everything that you're going to recycle, a lot of it gets kicked out. So then what you're doing is
you're paying for a secondary sort of your trash.
Yes. Yeah. So now when you talk about, again, the climate change thing, right? Now you have another truck going around, right?
Yeah. I just forgot about that.
That was what Mike was saying. He's like, so now you've got all this stuff goes through a recycling unit. 80% of it will get kicked back because it's got residue on it, and then it has to get taken to a dump. Yeah. So when you're talking about the whole let's get less cars on the road and stuff like that, you just created a whole new industry, right?
Yeah, you're not saving the planet, you're hurting it.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm not against recycling.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that can be reused and repurposed, which I think is a great idea. I just look at it and say, again, let's be transparent. Let's get all the correct information before we're vilified for not doing something properly. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Gun control.
Gun control is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah,
that will be an interesting one. That I think I don't know if we're going to come back. I think in a lot of these we're going to come back with similar but different opinions, and I think that's going to be tough.
I think personally, just real quick, some level of gun control or not. I don't like the word gun control. Yeah, I don't want anybody controlling. My guns, right? But
regulation.
Regulating, making sure that the gun purchasing process is a safe and responsible process. Yeah, right. I don't think everybody should have a gun. Yeah. I do think that most people should have a gun. Mm-hmm. I do think that if you've been convicted of a violent crime kind of stuff, sorry, you made decisions to forfeit your right. Yeah. Just because there's a constitution that gives you that right, people need to be responsible for their own fucking decisions. Yeah. And okay, you fucked up.
Yeah, take control of your life kind of thing, and live with the consequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can't disagree with that one. Yeah.
All right, so we got immigration.
Yep.
Right, open borders type thing. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, what's okay, what's not.
Process for it, time process for it. All that stuff.
Yeah, because the certain people that are trying to get in and going through the process have a very difficult time, and then other people they come across the border and they get bused to some little paradise somewhere. Yeah. And then you got funny stuff happening, like I think Colorado or maybe even Denver specifically was busing. Immigrants somehow were getting in there, and they were busting them up and shipping them off to New York or Boston or somewhere over there. And that's just political shenanigans that make me laugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's stupid, but yeah. And you live in Colorado. Yeah. You're what, Colorado Springs? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I'm outside Detroit. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'll be good too. Yeah. Taxes are always fun. Taxes. I don't like taxes. I think our tax code is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, I love him or hate him, right? And I think Dave Chappelle, when he talks about Trump and in the debates and how he called everybody out for he's like, yeah, I pay extremely little taxes. Yeah, is it right? No, but am I gonna do it? Am I within the laws? Yeah. Well, so the reason it's not gonna change is because all of those top donors on the left and the right are all using those same exact tax breaks.
Right.
So,
I think tax code definitely needs to be simplified significantly. I think we are overtaxed significantly. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, when you think about the fact that you literally, if you're a high income earner, right? You work the first 3 or 4 months of the year. Yeah. For free.
Yeah.
Right. Like now you get services, right?
Yep.
Roads and
Yeah.
fire and police and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But to think that you work like 3 or 4 months out of the year and all that money goes
To somebody else, to the government,
is
and then
crazy to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just is. Gosh, we could probably talk about taxes for like a year, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many avenues to go down with
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I definitely think we're overtaxed.
Yeah.
Because I just think there's a lot of programs that we don't need.
No. No, we don't.
And so, yeah, I think as a country we're wasteful.
Yeah.
Right? From a we just if there's something that the government wants to do, whatever, let's just tax it, and let's do it. And it's like I think the programs are completely necessary, and I really want to actually go through and say, okay, well, I think this.
How are we measuring the effectiveness of all that money, right? What's the return on value for all the money that's going here, there, and everything, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I can tell you that the roads in Michigan are shit. So whatever money we put into it, it hasn't been working very well.
Yeah.
So
and just I'm curious because it's been a while since I've been in Michigan, right? Is that legacy programs from Granholm, or does that have to do with the new?
I don't know. I know when Whitmer when she ran initially, her entire platform was I'll fix the roads in Michigan,
right?
And she didn't do the past year and a half. She finally started to do some stuff.
Was the effort or money going somewhere else? Maybe some other road system than just here in Southeast Michigan?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Again, I'll have to we'll have to probably dive into that one a little bit during the taxes part. But yeah.
Okay.
So, voting, right? Yeah. Voting rights.
Yeah.
How should we vote? Who should vote? How do we?
I think it's really simple.
This will be a good one.
Citizens that can prove their citizenship get to vote in the counties that they can prove that they live in.
Okay.
How do you prove it?
Well, so
ID.
I don't have there. You couldn't make the argument to me. Nobody could. That you shouldn't have to have some sort of ID to vote. Like I don't. People who say like that's like whatever. That's I don't. If it's
It's funny. I watched this clip just I think last night.
I can't. It's like okay. So
yeah.
I don't understand that. It's like we need. I need if I want to drive a car.
Yeah.
Right? Now people say voting is a right, driving a car is a privilege, right?
Okay,
And that's the argument against that.
Voting's a right for who? Who has that right?
Well, so it goes back to you, right? Citizens, right?
It's a right given by the Constitution for the citizens of the United States. Okay. Well, how do I know if you're a citizen?
Yeah, for sure. I always I had the idea for voting is
you think
if you pay your taxes,
right?
So when you pay your taxes,
okay,
you are issued that year a voting card.
Yeah, like a hunting tag.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get one vote this year, or you get you can.
Yeah, because I look at it and say if you're contributing to right the society from that aspect, then you get to vote. And now some people can say that's not fair because really lower income people don't pay taxes. Now, if you're exempt for that reason, then you still get if you're still making money working. I don't know. I don't have the perfect system.
I think that there's something like that.
Yeah.
I can put value on.
Yeah.
I also think that that we should maybe look at the voting ages.
Well, so no, I don't think age. I don't think it should be age. What I do think it should be is once you are no longer claimed on somebody else's tax return as a dependent. So like if
I'm 24
and your parents are still claiming you as a dependent, you can't vote.
Yeah. I can get behind. I mean, like
I posted,
on the surface.
Yeah, I posted something
like
that on Twitter one time, and somebody ripped me. They said, "Oh, I know somebody whose mom was claiming them as a dependent until they were 26 or something like that." And blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, but if they're paying their own taxes and the mom's also claiming that as a dependent, then the mom that I don't think that's legal.
No, it's not legal. It's not right.
So. Okay, so I can't make a rule based on this person's doing something illegal,
right?
If somebody wants to do something illegal and get around that, then that's okay. Well, that shouldn't be allowed anyway.
That goes back to being responsible for your choices.
Yeah,
right. You're making a choice to do this.
Yeah. So I don't know. That'll be interesting. And then we talked about a little bit at the beginning part, the Pledge of Allegiance, kind of nationalism, and I told you about the Canadian schools with that, and so we'll definitely dive into that one on that episode.
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic.
It is
looking forward to diving into that.
Yeah,
and I also added in here USA sponsored democracy.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, like
going into countries and taking them over.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was a very nice euphemism for it, though.
So
USA sponsored democracy, right? So. Yeah, when we decide that country's not doing the right thing and we know better and we insert ourselves, right? Is that okay? When is it okay? When is it not okay?
Yeah, so there's a book over there called The New Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
That's right. Yeah,
it's an interesting book, and it talks about how the World Bank and the U.S. Are in bed together to go and install democracy in capitalism in other countries and the negative effects to it,
right?
And how dirty the business side is behind that. It's really interesting. It's a good book.
Yeah.
I
feel like we often do that probably in the name of human rights. And
do you think we do it? Do you think okay, so do you think though we do it for human rights, or do you think it's because it's beneficial for us from a business aspect in one way or another? Because do you think
I don't think anything like that's black and white, right? And I think there's a lot of people. I don't think there's one person, that's saying this is going to happen. I think there's a lot of people that are involved in making that happen, and I believe that some people in that decision making are altruistic and doing it for the betterment of mankind.
Yeah.
And then I think there's other people that are like, let's do that because it's gonna, fill their coffers and all that. So it's a mixed bag.
Sure.
And so it's hard to dissect because it's not just, it's not one sided.
Yeah, it's not. And I think for sure. I mean, the world is in a better spot today than it was 30 years ago.
Because of us.
From a basic living standards aspect, right? If you look at the percentage of the population in poverty, illiteracy, things like that, the world is in a better spot. I don't know if that's true from a percentage aspect in the United States, but I know from a global population aspect that is true. I don't know. I'll be interested to look at stats on that in the United States.
Yeah.
Because I would actually think that we might be worse off than we were 20 years ago from a percentage in poverty or below poverty line or something like that.
And I think some of the things that come into that topic as well are the, was the war in the Middle East. Right, the weapons of mass destruction.
So,
were we there to disarm somebody, or were we there to protect our oil interests?
Well, so I got into it with somebody a while back about we were talking about the Ukraine-Russia war, right? Yeah. And I'm not a fan of us being involved in that, and we can get into that on another podcast. And one of the reasons is why is I said we've always been lied to about pretty much every war since World War II.
Sure.
Right. If you look back at every war since then, right? On both sides at this point, liberals and conservatives would look at the wars in the Middle East and Iraq and say, total waste of time. Like we were obviously there just to control to control oil interests and things like that. It had nothing to do with Saddam Hussein being the dictator that they made him out to be, and maybe he was right. I'm not suggesting Saddam Hussein was a good person by any stretch of the word.
Yeah.
But I think they build up stories to make us look as we got to go into Vietnam.
Right.
We got to go into we got to get Saddam Hussein out of power because he's a dictator and he's killing people and it's like well, hold on, that's still going on all over the place today.
Right.
I mean, there's still open slave trade going on throughout the world.
Yeah.
Right. So
there's probably not a country, at least in any of these third world countries, or third world continents.
Yeah.
There's probably not a country that exists where there isn't something like that going on, where there isn't some dictator or somebody in power oppressing somebody and enslaving them, and murdering them, wiping them out, whatever.
So is it for human rights or is it to
how do we
sort of business
how are we picking and choosing who we're saving today?
It's and that's where I think how does it interest what's in it for us, right? That's really where I think we're saying who we're picking and choosing.
I think to an extent, right? Like devil's advocate.
Yeah.
From a nationalism standpoint and making sure our country is stronger and more protected.
Yes.
I'm not against us taking actions you know, that preserve our way of life.
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
Like I don't, you know, I mean, it's our country.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, we want to increase our GDP.
Yeah.
Right. And if we're taking more of the GDP, like market share of the world, we're taking that away from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel bad about that?
Yeah. Well, that was. I mean, that's why after World War II, that's why our country thrived so much.
Yeah.
Because the other economic powers at the time, you know,
Yeah.
Germany and Russia,
Yeah.
got decimated, and Japan,
Yeah.
right, got decimated throughout that process.
Yeah.
And so who was left to be the industrial power?
Yeah.
It was us.
Yeah.
That's why we took off.
Yeah.
That's why, and that's when the U.S. dollar became so much more important. So yeah.
I think it becomes a lot of this comes back to an argument of morality. You know, is it the right thing to do?
So, and that's, I think, the most interesting thing. I think when people talk about the problems, right? The problem is us, right? The problem is human beings, well, mostly you, mostly you. Yeah, but the problem is human beings. Like, you want to talk about how we started the topic, right? Like rules and regulations in my industry, right?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest problem is the reason the rules and regulations are created. It's greed.
Yeah.
It's we're the problem.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you fix that? Right. Yeah. I don't know. And I don't know if you can.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you can.
And so that's why rules and regulations are created, right? Because people can you trust people to govern themselves completely, not be greedy? No
right.
rules and
right.
regulations.
No, you can't.
Right. You can't. So there has to be some level, but the problem is it can't be a barrier. Right?
Yeah.
That's the issue for me.
Yeah.
Is it can't be a hurdle. You look at California, right, as a
Yeah.
state, and like I know people that moved out there and they're like and left, and the mass exodus from California at this point is crazy from businesses because it's become such a barrier to be successful there because of the taxes.
Yeah. Like Colorado. Colorado's not a business friendly state.
No.
No. I'm having such a hard time with the regulations and the stuff that they're putting in place. And I keep learning new stuff that they're doing, and it's just like I don't like it.
Interesting.
I don't like how much control they're trying to insert themselves into telling businesses how to run their business.
Yeah,
right?
and see, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you actually have a plane to catch here soon. You were in town for the weekend just to kind of hang out, and we're just hanging out in my home office right now.
Yep.
You'll be back in a month and a half for a golf trip.
Yeah.
So we'll do another in-person one for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get another one in the
we'll definitely do another one in between there. But
okay.
We'll have to figure out what topic. So really, the two things for us though, we got to pick out a title. And then
pick out a title,
and then a topic.
Pick out a topic and start to dive into it.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the next podcast here, we'll have figured out one and at least kind of bring some arguments to the table.
Yeah.
Bring some information to the table.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And hash it.
Yeah. If you had to choose one to dive into first, and it could be multiple podcasts on the same topic, right? But
this might be a good one considering we'll have Schmidt. In pocket too.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him about that today.
Yeah.
And say, hey, and I'll let him know what's going on.
Yeah.
That'll be a really good
So we can do another one with the two of us before then, and then in a month and a half when we've got him in here, we can do a try in person.
Yeah.
You'll have to get your camera working.
Yeah, for sure. So,
hopefully this is even recording. I'm not sure. I might not have hit the button.
Yeah, is this on mute?
All right. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Whoever is fucking listening to this, thanks for listening.
It'll probably be a little bit of a shit show for a few, but it's fun. Honestly, I had a blast. Yeah. I really did.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons we're super close friends, or one of my closest friends in the world, one of my favorite people in the world. It's a great way for us to also just stay connected.
Yeah,
like it
absolutely.
really is. I'm really excited for us to do it, and so there's a lot of different advantages for me to do. So
I appreciate
it's
that.
cool. Yeah.
Same sentiments the same.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, man.
All right,
cool. Well, nice first episode.
I think it went good.
All right. That was fun.
That was.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have Schmidt.
Feeling a little